Aviva Rahmani. Yes, she's affiliated at Institute of Alpine Arti Research at University of Colorado at Boulder, independent studio artist, recipient of 2009 Artist and Healing Award for work on water, and 2007 Venice Biennale at Joseph Beuys Pavilion, and a Synod researcher. Okay.
First of all, I have to tell you I'm really happy to be here. It's great to have some other people to talk to besides the Synoders. I work at an intersection between science and activism and art, and my background is in performance art, which is very related to art as life. And I think that we are right now in a very interesting historical point, and I think it's a teachable moment for the whole planet. So I hope that what I will present to you is how I'm learning and how I hope the planet may be learning. I was really interested in what Jill said yesterday, that we went through the 60s and we failed, and whether that's a prediction for what will happen with the movements that we're seeing around the world right now. Because I think we failed because of our own personal arrogance and our naivete about strategizing for the future. And the conservative movement was neither naive nor arrogant. They just went to work and figured out how to take over the world, and that's why they were successful. But their success is a comment on our failure. The biggest problem I see that we're facing on this planet is that we won't have a planet for humans unless we change our attitudes. I'll just go back to that for a moment. My dissertation topic is trigger point theory as aesthetic activism, and that is the idea that art has a role in designing points to infiltrate systems and change them, and to change the paradigms that they represent. Thomas Kuhn was a science historian whose background was physics, the systems theorist, and he analyzed how systems change, specifically in terms of the sciences, but really it applies to all of culture, and that's where we get this notion of a paradigm shift. The biggest problem in going from art to science, in my perception, from what I've learned, and I think I've got this too close, is the question of quantification. You can say anything you want as an artist, but unless you can quantify it in terms of scientific results, it really has no meaning in the scientific world. It may have effective meaning, but not real application. So to me, this is a modeling problem. I'm very interested in modeling both on the literal and on the metaphorical level. But there are some problems that you can't solve with quantification with a computer, and that's the problem of what's called the Turing machine. And I probably shouldn't even have brought in this slide because it's a big can of worms about mathematics. But basically, in the early part of the last century, Alan Turing created a model for what would become the computer, and it was essentially a metaphorical device until it became real. It's now the foundation of everything we know about IT. But there are some things that are uncomputable, such as our relationship to the planet. And I said earlier that I thought where we had failed was in our humility. This is from Merle Ugali's piece on maintenance work in the early 70s. And basically what she became was a metaphor in her own existence of how we have to take care of our relationship in maintaining the world. This is a friend of mine who has taught a parrot to have a conversation with her. And the reason I'm showing this particular slide is because I think one of our great failures in humility is imagining that we are the center of the world. We are not. And the fact that we have presumed that we are the center of the world, and everything revolves around us, and all services come back to us, is precisely why we may not survive the Anthropocene age.